everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Launch Nocode podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Furness, and today I have one of the most amazing co-founders, I think, of the Launch Nocode time so far. We have Whit, who is the co-founder of Bad Unicorn, and he will be joining us today to talk about his journey in the no-code space. So hi, Whit. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Natalie. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. Whereabouts are you based at the minute?
So I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, southeast of the U.S.
Great. And what time's it over there at the minute?
It is almost 11:50
Cool. Right,
a.m.
we're in the UK over here, and it's a little bit later. It's coming up towards 5 p.m. here. So
Cool.
today we're going to be talking a little bit about your no-code projects, a little bit about your journey, a little bit about how you get started, and also more specifically about some of the tools that you have experience with and you've used. Because what a lot of our listeners enjoy is really getting deep down into the sort of technical side of the code and the no-code stacks and kind of like that nitty-gritty side of stuff. So
Yeah.
the first question is how did you get involved in this no-code space? How did you come across it?
Yeah. So I guess it just kind of came from trying to in Atlanta. It's not the biggest tech scene, but I would go to our tech hub called Atlanta Tech Village, and I joined a group with someone named KP, who's a pretty big name in the no code community. And he had started something called 0 to 1, and when he started it, there were 0 members, and then I joined, and there was 2, and we were just kind of figuring out what were we liked business and entrepreneurship, weren't sure exactly our role. We tried some things, but eventually stumbled upon no code, which allowed us to build kind of more internet products, like software products. And so that was kind of where we got our start. And the whole kind of that muscle grew just by setting a meeting every single week, an accountability group, basically, where every Friday we met at 4 p.m., same location. For now, it's been 2 years now. Now it's online, but so that habit kind of just built from just every week showing up, talking about what you did last week and what you plan on doing the next week. And so, that's kind of how, and I guess it's just Twitter too. We started kind of seeing things happening in no code, and we're like, well, we're kind of doing no code now too. So, we just kept learning the different tools that worked for us.
Amazing. And what were some of the first tools that you started with?
Yeah, so I started with Webflow. Just kind of randomly, one of the guys in the group was incredible at using Webflow. He was a designer, and so he's like, "Oh, this is the best tool. You got to use this." And I kind of just took his word for it. I probably should have looked into more different tools, but I was just like, "Yeah, Webflow's that sounds right." And there was a steep learning curve when I started, but just the more I kind of just forced myself to learn. It was just a learn by doing. I never took a crash course or anything.
Yeah, I've been feeling the sort of same way. Did you ever sort of pay much attention to the Webflow University or anything like that? Is that something that you
I
spent
mean,
time on?
I've watched some videos, and they do an incredible job at making it entertaining and fun, and obviously educational as well. But I think by the time they started really curating those videos, some of the basic tutorials I had kind of understood, or I was watching them, I was like, I kind of know some of this stuff. And there's tons of stuff in the Webflow University content that I know nothing about. I think it's what's it called, a black box of content, where it's there's so much you can learn when you're building a Webflow. And I don't think I'm a very talented Webflower. I think I'm just a fast builder. So I take some of the templates I've built off. They have a great clonable section that I'll lean on a lot. So I'm not there's some people on Twitter that are incredible Webflow designers. I'm just someone who builds small websites fast.
Yeah, amazing. And we've been obviously seeing a lot of your work with Bad Unicorn and, all the amazing things you've been releasing there. So, for some of our listeners who don't know much about Bad Unicorn and what it's about and or anything about it. Do you want to give a brief overview of that?
Yeah, so Bad Unicorn is we're a product studio, and we build bad slash funny startup ideas, and we drop a new one every single or every other Friday. Yeah, and so we're just building funny startup products, launching them on Twitter, on Product Hunt. Yeah, and so we've dropped a total of we've gone for 7 months now. We've dropped 14 products.
Oh, that's just amazing. I mean, it's kind of a little bit overwhelming, and this isn't something that you do completely by yourself, is it? I mean, how big is your
Mm-mm.
team? How many of you? What sort of roles and responsibilities do you have?
Yeah, so it's just me and this guy named Ash, who's incredible. He's like he keeps like everything together at Bad Unicorn. Like I'm kind of all over the place as far as I don't know, just like my thoughts. And Ash like keeps us together. He's also an incredible builder. Um, so it's just me and Ash as of now. We've collaborated with some people on certain projects. If it, when it was like the right fit, and we launched products with people. Um, yeah, but it's just us two.
Okay. Well, and how did you meet each other? Did you know each other before? Because I think I'm always interested in sort of this collaboration stuff because
Hmm.
I up until a few weeks ago, actually, I was very much a solo no coder, and I've been really lucky to find a co-founder, that dude Dennis, who's joining me on the minimal
Yeah.
viable stack product that we're doing. But it's taken me a long time to find somebody. How did you find somebody that you're now working so well with and so productively?
Yeah. So it's finding a co-founder is like really hard. And a lot of times when I hear stories, it's I mean, there's some um, like patterns you see, but a lot of times it's just like kind of random. So I guess sometimes you'll find them on Twitter. Sometimes you'll find them at like a startup hub or something. For Ash and I, we were both in that 0 to 1 makers group. So when we met in person, Ash would hop on video and kind of do his updates as well. So it was pretty important for I think both of us where we kind of separately we were building stuff and making stuff. And I always think it's like important whenever you go in with someone else on something that you both care about that both people are already exemplifying the habits that you like want your co-founder to be doing. Like people don't change like that quickly. Yeah, we were both building projects in Nocode separately. And then when Bad Unicorn started, it kind of Bad Unicorn started off off an idea I had previously, which was the first I built like I don't know 4 or 5 projects that were really really bad like products. They were just kind of learning Webflow, and I was launching things. And uh, anyways, I eventually it's a long-winded story, but I'll continue. I launched something called Random Pizza, which was the first thing I launched that had a little bit of success and had some early users. And the idea was exactly what it sounds. It's a subscription service um, that sends you a random pizza, 2 random pizzas once a month. And so from that, it was like a silly kind of gag subscription service. But through that, I kind of realized like I love these like bad, funny ideas. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good. Um, and so that kind of like, and then also only took me like 2 3 days to build. So I was like, why can't I just do this like every other week? And anyways, I guess now I'm getting to the Ash part. I was like, I'm gonna start doing this. I talked about it in our group and like asked for feedback. And then Ash and I kind of chatted more, and we're let's do this together. Like we both build different websites. Like we can kind of like certain times you can build, certain times I can build. Yeah, and so that's kind of how it all started.
Awesome. So you've got kind of a lot in common and sort of take it in turns, which is great. And I want to come back a
Mhm.
little bit to that sort of bad pizza. Or what was it? Random pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah.
random
Like I
pizza.
love that. That's such a great concept. I might actually steal that and like actually just build it in the UK.
Do
Like
it,
I'll
do
give
it.
you some form of credits or something like that. But like,
No
so talk
need,
us
no
through
need.
like that kind of product. Like, talk me through the layers of that because I mean, someone has to make these pizzas, right? Like, this isn't just
Hmm.
like something that you can. I mean, were you making the pizzas? Did you partner with
Yeah.
other people making the pizzas? Like, how did this actually work as like from a business point of view and from a technical infrastructure point of view?
Yeah, so the idea started kind of in the same group, like chatting with KP, and it was kind of from going like, I guess back pre-COVID times, you would go to these like meetup events, and then there would always be pizza. We went to a bunch of indie hackers events, and there would always be leftover pizza. And at the end, there'd be like 3 boxes of pizza, and it'd be like, "You guys want to take like a box home?" And I like would never say no to pizza. And I was thinking like, kind of when I got, I was like, what if this could like happen more often, where like just like serendipitously, like I just got like a pizza. Some would say random pizza. And so I thought of that product as like, could this be a subscription service that's kind of like a serendipity of a service, serendipity as a service? And yeah, I riffed on the idea. I had a couple like different iterations of what it looked like. Like at first, I just said, I'm just gonna do Atlanta, and I'm just gonna do like local pizza joints, and I'll just like call in like all the orders. And then I kind of realized there's like in the U.S. there's like 3, 4 like pizza chains that are like everywhere. Like if you have an address, like they can deliver. So I was like, why can't this just be like all over the U.S. and I can like go from there. Like I can test the idea. If it doesn't work, who cares? I've already like launched like 5 things that haven't worked. So yeah, from there it was kind of uh, figuring out like how I was gonna send those pizzas, and it was just like using these chains and using like the online delivery. So like I could schedule pizzas, and I would schedule those pizzas in bulk. So like we had like 48 signups or something from our product on launch, and then just whenever like the month came around and I looked at their like times, I guess I'll go to the build. But anyways, it started with a Webflow website, and just yeah, Webflow site with some funny copy. Most of the copy was kind of self-deprecating in nature, where like we were kind of like making fun of the idea while like pushing the idea. And yeah, so the stack is a Webflow website, uh, a Gumroad subscription sign up, a type form for like data, so for people to put in all their information, so their address, the times they want the pizzas delivered, like the days of the weeks they're willing to have the pizzas delivered, um, phone number, like all of the normal things for a sign up. So type form for that. And then maybe there was some zaps in there as far as like just automations that like send confirmations, and yeah, and then that was it for the start. And so the first couple months were difficult because it was, I guess the first like 2, 3 months were difficult because I was like manually sending all these pizzas, and so it was somewhat time consuming. Uh, yeah, later
So
I figured
people
out a
making the
way.
order, were
Yeah,
they making the order with you, and you're pretty much basically the guy ringing up, ordering everybody's pizzas for them? Is that kind of how the front end and so you were the back end booker? Is that was step
yeah,
one?
they were basically prepaying for a pizza each month, and or 2 pizzas each month. So they'd pay me $20, and then at a random time, based on their preferences, they would get a cheese or pepperoni pizza, depending on what they picked.
Awesome. I really like that though. And I think it's really important that we talk to founders and we talk to no code makers about the importance of knowing that like a minimal viable product is a minimal viable product. Not everything
Oh
has to
yeah,
be automated. Not everything needs to be connected. Naturally, it was you
yeah,
putting in that graft that actually got it off the ground. Yes,
hmm
the front end was managed, but if you put your hands
yeah,
up and said, you know what, like I don't want to sit here and order pizzas, that would have never worked. It required that
yeah,
kind of happy to do anything kind of attitude.
yeah, yeah. So do things that don't scale, like approach, where it's like sometimes you just have to like Wizard of Oz it, or like kind of like let the users think it's like real, but really you're just doing all the work on the back end. Yeah, that's for sure.
That's great. So, of course, since then, and that was a great first success. And did you kind of progress it? So, once you'd done the back end for a bit, so you were the orderer, did you automate
Mhm.
that somehow?
So yeah, we actually did. It was more difficult than we thought. We ended up like, because all these chains, like a lot of different companies have APIs. These pizza chains aren't as technical, so they don't have like open documentation for like if you wanted to write code to send pizza, it's not there. You kind of have to like figure it out for yourself. So the hacky way we got around it was we went to their website. I like ordered a pizza for myself. I screen recorded, I think we like screen recorded my screen. And then I did like I think it's Command I or something when you're in Chrome, and it does like and
Mm-hmm.
inspects the page, and so you can see everything that's happening when you press a button, when you like scroll, or like when something pops up, all that code like is displayed. So we kind of looked at that and found a way to like see their like API keys, and so once you know the API keys, you can like write something um, to like push and hit those keys, and then like send a pizza. So yeah, that's kind of the way we figured out like to a hacky way to uh, automate the pizza sends.
So did that require some level of coding at that point?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't know anything code. I know like a little bit HTML, but like nothing that would impress anyone. Um, I have one of the people from the group, Michael Gill, super talented, no coder and developer. He he uh, wrote something that I think through Integromat is the way he does it. I think he can send pizzas through there, but he had to write custom code, or we kind of first found a wrapper, um, and then
Yeah.
edited that.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing as well to kind of talk about is that yes, no code has lots of power, but it doesn't mean that there's going to be no use for
Yeah.
developers and engineers. If anything, they're the ones that are going to bring power to our no code solutions as well. And
Hmm.
collaboration is certainly something we should be looking to do between the no code space and the code space, and making it easy
Yeah.
for people. I've actually had a question from our audience, and it's from Bambi, who says, so was it completely random pizza, or was it just cheese or pepperoni to choose?
So you set your preferences on cheese and pepperoni, and that was kind of just the cheapest option, and that was also just like the minimum viable nature, where it's like we don't want to give people like hundreds of options, and I don't know, make the process more complicated. So it was random timed pizza. It wasn't random type pizza.
So they would choose their pizza that they would like, but they would just get it at a random time at some day
Yeah,
in the week. Oh, that's
yeah. So it'd
awesome.
just be like 3 p.m. They'd be like at their house or at their office, and then they would just get a call, and the call would be like, "Hey, like it's Domino's," and like everyone's first experience is the exact same. They like answer the phone and like, "Hey, we have your pizza outside," and they're like I didn't order a pizza, and then they like realize like, oh, and then they like go out, grab their pizza.
Amazing. I mean, such a genius, like fun idea. And I think that's the great thing about this stuff is that it's fun and it's food, like two of my
Hmm.
favorite things. So
Yeah,
since then, of course, you've come a long way and you've got like how many products did you say? Like 14 or 16?
yeah. We've launched 14 with Bad Unicorn, and then I probably had
Mm,
maybe 5 before that. That like again were like my early projects, didn't get a lot of traction,
mm.
but
So
still
let's
worth it.
talk a couple of your projects in Bad Unicorn, because I think, maybe just like in your mind, just think of two or three that we can kind of run through and kind of what the use case was, how they've done, and then maybe we'll drill down a little bit into the tech stack as well. Because I think, the thing is with no code is that we're looking at this stuff and we're like, this is amazing, but how did they do it?
Hmm.
And that's kind of
Yeah.
what I want to drill into. So first of all, what's your favorite project that you've worked on so far?
Hmm. The most fun to build was one of our most recent drops, which is something called like Mindflow, or like some people call it like Mind F. I'm not sure if I can curse on this live podcast, but
Yeah,
it
go
was
for
the
it.
title is Mind Flow, and that was the most fun one to build. We just had um, it was Ash and I, and then we had a video team that helped us, and we also had an audio person, Edmund, that if you know him from Twitter. Uh, so we had like a bigger like group of people kind of collaborating, and it was also just like so random. So we built. I guess I'll talk about the what the idea was first.
Mm,
It was a meditation app with occasional profanity, and kind of not only that, we made a bunch of meditations that were like hyper niche meditations for like very random things. So they weren't these like breathing exercise meditations. They were like Bitcoin's crashing and you need uh like you have an anxiety and like you'll want like a Bitcoin anxiety meditation.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but I'm a Bitcoin trader, crypto
Yeah,
trader, and I can think of like I know at least 10 people that would really benefit from from having a meditation for when the Bitcoin price is going down. Amazing.
for sure. Yeah. And so that was fun. I'd say the most successful one was that we've had to date. And we've had like a lot of duds, but we also like knew this going in. We're like, when you launch this many projects and this fast, like you're gonna have duds. But we've had probably like 4 or 5 successes, or ones that like, I mean, all of them like we learned a lot of stuff. But um, the most successful one was something called elonstocks.com, and like kind of like a lot of ideas. The premise is very simple. It's when Elon Musk tweets about a stock, you'll receive a text message and SMS messages. And yeah, that one did very well. Got written about and got some press. Some like
That's
TikTok creators
cool.
made some videos. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and it
talk to
still
me more
has
about
MR. Yeah,
yeah, I was going to say talk to me more about how you built that because I think a lot of people are quite interested in tagging like using Twitter in some way to act as a trigger for an action. So, talk to me about that process. How did you end up designing and developing something that meant that Elon triggered a text message?
yeah. So this was we actually built this one. So we drop every Friday. We came up with this idea on like Wednesday night or like Thursday morning, like something like 44 hours before our like Friday drop, because it was all the Wall Street bets and like Reddit investing drama. And so we're like, this guy, like Elon Musk is tweeting a lot about stocks, and every single time without fail, like the stock price shoots up. So like, let's just like build something funny based off this, and maybe it's a little useful too. But yeah, so that was kind of the premise. We built a website and card, and we knew we didn't have to put too much information because it's, I mean, everyone's like aware that like Elon Musk is like a um, influential person, and like he kind of like impacts the stock price of whatever he's talking about. Um, so we only made a one pager. We made sure it was like super simple. There's really only like a couple elements on the page, and we even like we kind of modeled it off Morning Brew's website, which is literally you can't even like scroll on Morning Brew's website. It's basically just an email box that says like put your email here, and so we did the same thing with phone numbers. And yeah, so the stack is a card website that Ash built, and it's a beautiful website. Uh, we used some zaps to send to like push to Twilio, and so Twilio is the third thing we use, which that sends all of our text messages, and that was a little more technical. And I guess even between Zapier, there's Airtable, so it's card, Zapier, Airtable, and Twilio are the main things that put it all together. Then to mass send messages, we use something called postsheets.com, and that's just like a bulk email or a bulk text message sender.
Hmm. And just maybe if I haven't got this clear, how did you recognize when Elon was tweeting about a stock or share? Was that a manual process or how did you do that?
Yeah, so the process is we have a Zap set up where whenever he tweets anything, we receive a text message. So through the same Twilio app, we receive a text message immediately, with like a special like a special ring to make sure we kind of know. We also have these like Twitter notifications on too, and have turned off like I've turned off all other Twitter notifications. So it's if I see that Twitter icon pop on my phone, I know it's from Elon Musk. And so yeah, so there's kind of like two ways that we like receive those notifications, just in case for whatever reason there's like a failure point in the Zap or something.
Mm.
And so right when we receive that, either Ash or I, we immediately have like an automation on our phone where we like click a shortcut. We have the link to the tweet like copied, and we write like a short like 2 second like or like maybe 5-word blurb on like the tweet that's like
Mm,
somewhat jokey. And so that's kind of
awesome.
the process.
Yeah, and I think it's good to reflect on the fact that there there is some manual processes in these systems. They still do require automation. It's not like a
Yeah.
passive income. You're not sort of sitting there and money's coming in and you're getting rich. It's like it's hard work,
Yeah.
this stuff. And I mean, how
Yeah,
much were
it
people
is.
how much were people pay were you charging people for these like updates? How much were people paying for Elon
Yeah.
Musk updates?
So we launched it and we're like, kind of like some of our projects, we never know what's going to do well and what's not. Um, this one we had a good feeling about, but it's still like it could have just been a dud. But we started getting signups. Then probably in the first couple days, we had like 3,000 signups or something like that, which was a lot of. We started off with like a 3-day free trial or a 3-tweet free trial, and that was like good if we had like 100 or 200 or 500 people sign up. It was a lot more difficult with like scale, and so in total we've had like 9,000 people sign up, and that's a ton of money. Especially we didn't just do domestic, so we did international numbers as well. And for
Mm,
Twilio, it costs like 10 times more to send an international number than like a US number. And so it got expensive whenever like uh, we sent tweets. And so even when we launched the first product, we didn't have payment set up. So like no one could buy the product. It was like a free trial product to see like if people were interested. And so like there was a time when we didn't have payment set up at all, and we were like, I don't know, like $1,200 in the hole. And so like if we like put payment on the website and no one purchased it, we were just going to be like out that money. Uh, Luckily, we had like a big enough sample size where we've recouped that money. But yeah, so we had a bunch of signups. We had to upgrade all of our accounts, which was Twilio, which was Zapier, which was Airtable, which was Postsheets, which is this thing that sends these bulk messages. And so we had to upgrade all these accounts. They like all kind of broke because we like maxed out really fast. But yeah, eventually we added payment to the website. So we added a Gumroad page where you could sign up for a subscription. For these first people, we only charged. We initially said like on the site it was like $1 a week, like $4 a month, and so we did a trial for all those people who had signed up previously, and then we're like, let's like push it to $10 a month. Like it's kind of like the Tim Ferriss approach where it's like if half is if it cuts in half the number of signups, we're still like good and we have less like
mm,
people to deal with. And so I think that was like right decision. We didn't want to like Elon Sucks is a fun project and it's doing well, kind of still to date, but it's not something we want to be doing like spending all of our time with. And uh, so kind of after a certain trial period, we like send another message. We're like we're upping it to $10, and so now it's $10 a month. And yeah, and so that makes at its peak it was like $750 a month MRR, and we've had some churn, but in total we've like the last 2 months like $1,300 something dollars, just on like kind of sending a couple tweets.
mm. Cool. Well, it's really nice to see sort of how that is sort of gone from idea to kind of creation, which was free, and then it turned into a premium product. And I suppose is this cycle, this kind of like ideation, free version, paid version, is that how all your ideas work? I mean, is that your general kind of approach to products? Because I mean, Jacob has asked, can you tell us about your approach to marketing these funny product ideas
Yeah.
and how much response? So do you feel like you're marketing in a traditional sense, or are you kind of just pushing ideas out there and just seeing what lands?
Yeah, so we try to launch just based on like what we think is the funniest and most timely idea. And so we try to keep a balance of launching products that are we call them revenue generating and engagement generating. And I think we kind of got this from people at Mischief. I heard their founder talking on a podcast, but they have this balance of ideas that are meant to just like be fun and free, like no payment, almost like content. So you launch a product and it's just content for like people to go to the site, sign up for like the newsletter, for our newsletter, and then occasionally products that like are meant to generate revenue and hopefully generate like monthly recurring revenue. And so, so we strike a balance between products that are just meant to be fun and free, and then maybe products where like some people will pay money.
Yeah, cool. And where's your typical sort of distribution channels? And like, where do you talk about your products the most online?
Yeah, so Twitter's by far number one. I wasn't a Twitter user when Twitter like blew up, but I just joined like 2 years ago, and now I'm hardcore like Twitter addict. So talk about a lot of the products on Twitter. That's like I guess the second place we launch. The first place is we send out to our newsletter audience. So we have an email newsletter, and they're the first people that find out about any of our projects. So we'll send it to them first. Then we launch it on Twitter. Kind of based on that, we decide like, all right, like, do we want to like go in and like do a product hunt launch and try to get more engagement? From there, we'll post kind of all over like tech, like all over like anywhere that I kind of like indie hackers is a good spot. And that's either like we'll post like a lessons learned on the product we built, or a milestone that we like hit on a certain project, or like kind of like AMA, like does anyone have any questions about this product build? Like here's the stack. So we share our stack openly with all our projects. And then like Reddit is a good spot. So with Bad Unicorn, we look at it as kind of like a road trip where we're building a product for like meditation, and then we're building like a stock market product, then we're building like a random product in this other niche. And so we jump around like these markets a lot. And so we find whenever we drop, there's like 5 relevant Reddit channels that we can try to tap into, and we haven't been blocked on yet. Like I've probably been blocked from, I don't know, 30, 40 Reddit threads just because like I post things and the moderators don't like it. They don't like any sort of self-promotion. So that's a good spot too.
Do you know what? I'm so glad you said that, because, I mean, listening to you talk, and, I come from a marketing background, but listening to you talk, you sound like you are a marketer. You just don't call it marketing. You're looking at trends, you're looking at engagement, your content. I mean, we call that lead magnets, which are things that people don't have to pay for, but bring them in, they sign up to emails. I mean, how many subs have you guys managed to like get for your emails?
So we're at in total like 6,000 something email subscribers across like all the things we've built.
Yeah, and in marketing, we know that actually going back to your existing marketing email list is going to be where you're going to be driving most of your revenue from, because these are people that know you, they trust your work, they love what you're doing, they want to be part of things. And, some of your products might not appeal to them, but other ones that like, that's awesome. We'll totally pay for that. And, and that's a great thing. But yeah, we're going to come to the end of the podcast session here today, Whit. So before you go, is there anything you want to share in terms of where people can find you, what your projects are, or websites and things like that?
Yeah, so places you can find, mainly I'll just plug Bad Unicorn, like at badunicorn.vc on Twitter. Then it would be awesome if you sign up for our email list at badunicorn.vc is the domain. And that's us.
Right. Thank you so much for the podcast session of this, Whit. It's lovely having you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Natalie. I had a blast.